We've all been there, right? You want to understand something important, but just digging through everything feels, well, overwhelming.
That's exactly where we step in.
Welcome to this deep dive. We do the sifting, pulling out the key stuff, just for you.
And today we're tackling a really fascinating topic. The surprisingly fast role AI played in China's COVID-19 response.
Yeah, we've gone through a bunch of articles looking at China's tech landscape back then.
And what really jumps out isn't just that they used AI, but how quickly and the unique approach they took to getting it out there.
Exactly. This wasn't just theory or lab work. We saw AI deployed practically huge scale, really incredible speed.
Mhm.
So our mission today, figure out how China actually used AI during the pandemic. We'll look at some big successes, the thinking behind it all.
And what it tells us about their tech ecosystem, really.
Okay, let's get into it. What was so different about their deployment style?
Well, it contrasts quite a bit with what's common elsewhere, the whole proof of concept or POC idea.
Right, the PACE. That initial check to see if something's even feasible, technically possible, makes business sense.
Exactly. It's a preliminary investigation. And if the PACE fails, you might just scrap the project. That's normal.
Sensible even. But the sources suggest China does things differently.
Yeah, they often seem to blur the line between that initial test and a full live deployment. It's almost like the PACE is the large-scale rollout sometimes.
A real-world test bed from the get-go?
Precisely. There's this philosophy of learning by doing, but amplified on a massive scale.
And for AI, that makes a kind of sense, doesn't it? Performance relies so much on learning.
It really does. The more data, the more real-world interaction, the faster the AI learns and improves. Widespread application accelerates that hugely.
Plus, the articles talk about the sheer competitiveness over there. So many AI startups, fast money.
Huge pressure to get results fast.
So that pushes towards quicker deployment.
Absolutely. Combine that pressure with the winner-takes-all feel of the tech market.
Yeah.
Getting out there first, even if it's not perfect, gives you a massive advantage. Data advantage, market share.
So what looks like rushing to us might actually be a very deliberate strategy for AI dominance.
Could well be. It fits the technology.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The parallel drawn with agile development.
Yes, that's a great point from the sources. Getting something to market quickly, even with issues, and then iterating based on feedback.
That's textbook agile, but usually for software.
Right. But the suggestion is China's almost been doing a kind of hardware agile historically, getting products out, then tweaking them.
And AI fits that model perfectly.
Exceptionally well, because AI needs that continuous learning, that refinement through operation. It's almost designed for that iterative approach.
But AI wasn't always like this, was it? The sources mention a big shift around 2006.
Exactly. Before then, AI was more academic. Lots of research, sure. Japan actually had a strong patent position in areas like computer vision, natural language processing.
Fujitsu, Canon, Sony, NEC, big names.
Yeah, but it wasn't really hitting everyday life in a big way, more theoretical potential.
Then 2006, deep learning arrives.
Game changer. Work from the University of Toronto, Geoffrey Hinton's group, showing what deep learning could do, especially with images.
And that shifted everything towards practical applications, machine learning.
Totally. It was like a reset button. Suddenly, some of the older AI advantages weren't quite as relevant. And China jumped on this new wave, hard.
We see that in the patent data mentioned, right? China's machine learning patents surged after 2006, overtaking Japan.
Yep. Though it's worth noting, U.S. companies and Chinese universities often dominate the very top rankings. Still, that surge shows intense focus and investment.
So they had this foundation ready when the pandemic hit.
A strong foundation. Now, the sources are clear. Not every single tech deployed was a home run immediately.
Sure, that makes sense.
But the sheer urgency of the pandemic created this space for, well, massive experimentation. Try things out, see what sticks, iterate fast.
And the fundamental problem was clear. How do you separate the sick from the healthy to keep society running?
That was the core challenge. Precise identification was difficult, which led to those sweeping lockdowns initially.
So technology offered a path to more targeted isolation.
That was the hope. Use tech to pinpoint and isolate, minimizing the disruption. And that's where we saw some really major AI plays.
Okay, let's talk specifics. The health code system, that sounds pivotal.
Oh, absolutely central. It was a joint effort, Zhejiang province and Alibaba.
And it used smartphone location data.
Basically, yes. To figure out your risk based on proximity to known cases. Did you cross paths with someone who tested positive?
And that resulted in the color codes. Red, yellow, green.
Red meant confirmed case or close contact, strict quarantine. Yellow meant potential exposure, some restrictions. Green meant you were clear for now.
And this QR code became your pass, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Needed for public transport, entering shops, offices.
So without a green code, you were basically stuck.
Largely, yes. But the flip side was it allowed businesses and public spaces to reopen much faster, operating with only green code people. It enabled economic activity to resume sooner.
And they still use it to manage flare-ups.
Yeah, it allows for a quick identification and isolation of contacts when new cases pop up.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting to compare it to the Apple-Google system. Similar goal, but different tech, Bluetooth-based.
Okay. Beyond the health code, the speed of other solutions was striking. Wuhan locked down January 23rd.
And boom, within weeks, other AI tools were appearing. Look at Badu's linear fold.
What did that do?
It predicts RNA structure. Super important for understanding viruses, developing drugs, vaccines.
Okay.
And the key thing was speed. It slashed prediction time from like 55 minutes using older methods down to just 27 seconds.
Wow, that's huge.
Massive acceleration for research.
Right.
And they made it free globally, adopted by over 100 research institutions. A clear insight into AI compressing critical timelines.
Then there was the AI for reading CT scans from Alibaba's Demo Academy.
Right. This system could spot signs of COVID-19 in lung CT scans. Accuracy around 96%, and it did it in 20 seconds.
Compared to a doctor.
An experienced doctor might take 15 minutes to go through the 300 or so images in one scan.
But didn't they have a problem getting enough scans initially? Limited testing?
That was a hurdle, yeah. PCR testing bottlenecks meant fewer confirmed cases early on, so less training data.
But then Dr. Song Nanshan's team stepped in.
Exactly. They developed rapid test kits around mid-February. That dramatically increased confirmed cases, providing the data Demo Academy needed to train their AI. Shows how these different tech pieces connect.
We also saw those autonomous delivery carts. JD.com, Baidu.
Yeah, Neolix partnered with Baidu. These weren't just concepts. They were out there delivering supplies, meals, especially to hospitals.
Reducing human contact, protecting workers.
That was the main goal. They navigated preset routes, avoided obstacles. JD already used similar tech for deliveries. Baidu had its Apollo platform.
So they had a head start.
Definitely. And the lockdowns actually helped. Less traffic made it easier for the carts. Plus, rigorous disinfection was part of the process.
And smaller robots inside hospitals, too.
Little food delivery bots, originally for restaurants, repurposed to take meals or meds right to patient rooms. Again, minimizing contact. They'd even notify the patient on arrival.
AI voice assistants also played a role. Baidu again.
In some really practical ways. One was checking if businesses were actually open. The AI would call shops listed on Baidu Maps, ask their hours, update the map.
That's clever, keeping information current during chaos.
By April, they'd made over 3 million calls, updated info for 300,000 stores. Super useful for the public.
And community organizations use them too.
Yes, to check on residents' health. Instead of risky door-to-door visits during lockdown, the AI could call, ask health questions, log the answers, much faster and safer than manual calling. It even helped communities coordinate aid.
There's also the speech recognition for accessibility.
Right, Baidu offered that for free. Real-time subtitles for hearing-impaired students in online classes, making remote learning possible. Tianjin University of Technology used it, reached about 20,000 people.
Even inside hospitals for note-taking.
Yeah, at Shandong Yantai Infectious Disease Hospital, for instance. Using wireless intercoms, doctors could dictate notes and AI transcribe them. Eased the burden, insured records were kept up to date, tuned for medical terms, apparently very accurate.
Okay, last big one. Masked facial recognition. Masks obviously mess with standard systems.
Huge problem, yeah. Facial recognition was already everywhere in China, so companies like Migvi, Visayan, and Baidu had to adapt fast.
That's how they do it.
Two main things. One, focusing on the eyes, training AI on unique eye shapes, using existing face data. Two, adaptive focusing AI, deciding which features to use depending on whether a mask is there.
But training data must have been scarce for masked faces.
It was the major bottleneck, so they got creative with GAN's generative adversarial network.
Ah, the AI that makes fake images?
Sort of. It's like having two AIs. A forger making fake masked faces and a detective trying to spot the fakes. They compete and both get better, resulting in tons of realistic synthetic masked face data for training.
So they generated the data they needed.
Exactly, and used that to update their systems. Accuracy got up to around 95%. Not perfect, but impressive given the challenge. And it keeps learning.
So pulling back, What underlying factors drove all this? Why so fast, so widespread in China?
It seems like a mix. Definitely a strong sense of national pride, wanting to contribute during a crisis,
Sure.
but also pragmatic business sense, seeing the pandemic, unfortunately, as a chance to push tech development and grab market share.
And the cultural angle, the sources mention a sort of tolerance for imperfection.
That's a really interesting point. Maybe a greater acceptance that new tech won't be perfect right away based on past experiences, a belief that tech will ultimately improve things.
Like that anecdote about the university facegate needing a DIY sunshield.
Exactly. Users just adapt, fix it themselves almost, and that feedback loop helps developers improve it. That mindset really meshes well with how AI develops, needing that real-world use and iteration.
So, looking ahead, what does this all mean?
Well, you can probably expect AI to become even more deeply woven into Chinese society in all sorts of ways.
There might be bumps along the way.
Oh, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Initial issues, disruptions. But the track record suggests companies and people there are pretty resilient, good at problem solving on the fly.
So, advice for us watching from outside.
Maybe look beyond the initial chaos headline sometimes. Follow up, see how things evolve. Often you see rapid improvement and surprisingly sophisticated deployment emerge later on.
Definitely need to keep a close eye on China's AI progress then. The pandemic seems to have hit the accelerator.
For sure.
Okay, let's wrap this deep dive up. Key takeaway seems to be China's unique approach to AI during COVID. Massive scale, real-world testing from the start, that sort of agile mindset, and a culture that supports iteration.
Yeah, and we saw concrete examples. The health code, super fast RNA prediction with linear fold, AI reading scans, autonomous deliveries, even solving the masked face problem.
We hope this dive gave you a useful shortcut to understanding a pretty complex picture, insights into their tech power and their particular way of innovating,
Definitely a lot there.
and maybe a final question for you to chew on. Given what China did, what are the upsides and maybe the downsides for other countries thinking about similar large-scale AI rollouts for crises or just big societal challenges?
And how much does that cultural factor, that public acceptance piece, really matter for making these technologies stick?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.